So today, I finished Avatar: The Last Airbender. What are my opinions on it, you may be asking, even though you're most likely not asking, and you clicked on this video either based on pity or if you're my close friend, of course. You win. It was good. Let me explain. As always, here's a brief history, I guess. So there was this young American man, young American bald man, in fact. His name was Michael Dante DiMartino, alongside his friend Brian Konietzko. I think that's it. Both of them were basically weebs who really liked Asian culture. And lo and behold, in 2005, the very first episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender would come out. And it would go on to basically be probably the most iconic cartoon in Nickelodeon's entire catalog. You know, excluding the big four. But like, still, yeah, that's your brief history. Now, of course, as for the backstory of why I even watched the show in the first place, so my good friend Fari Lotus, if you remember, he featured in a few videos a few years ago, basically. What we usually do is that we switch shows. So I give him a show that I want to watch. I give him a show that I want him to watch, rather, and he gives me a show in return. So we've been doing that for a while. So for instance, I gave him Dragon Prince, and then he gave me Jujutsu Kaisen, and then I gave him Hilda, and then he gave me what do they call it? Demon Slayer. So now I was in debt because I gave him Comic-Cons Communicate, but from the suggestions that he gave me, I wasn't really willing to watch any of them, especially not Avatar. Now you see, I only just watched Avatar this year. Like, this is the first time in my entire life that I watched a single episode of Avatar. Not to talk about the entire show in a matter of a week. So, I didn't really know what to expect going into it. I wasn't a big fan of it. I didn't really want to watch it. And that wasn't because I thought it looked bad. No, because it was recommended by David. And why would I want that? So anyways, after recommending it to myself, I just decided to, sure, let me just pay up my debt and stuff like that. And then boom, Avatar: The Last Airbender. And now that I'm done watching it, I'm just going to I'm going to like review it, kind of. This one is off script. It's not really a proper video on it. But I just wanted to quickly get this out so that the recency doesn't really fade away too much. So I'm going to start off with what I thought about the animation, which, okay, in the earlier seasons, it wasn't it, to be honest. Yeah, it was made in 2005 and all, but God, it didn't age that well. I wasn't a fan of it at all. I didn't like it. Sorry to say. And I know a lot of people are going to have their gripes with that. I personally didn't like it. Season 2 was a step up, but again, to me, at the very least, it wasn't really something special. And season 3, the later episodes really blew it out of the park. Basically, every still was stunning. And everything to do with Aang and the Avatar stage, to be honest, just looked really good overall. As for like the backgrounds and stuff, God, one thing that the show really excels in is its scenery. Like, every place in Avatar: The Last Airbender looks so good, and it really helps them with the amazing atmosphere building that they've been trying to do here, which is also pretty cool. Um, yeah, animation. Next, I want to talk about the characters, starting with the last Airbender for now, and so one thing I've seen on social media is that the only reason that people would not like Aang is because he acts like a normal 12-year-old, which is true actually. Aang, I mean, he had his problems though, right? He was strong-headed when he needed to be, but every 12-year-old was really, and he actually really perfectly impacted. Stutter. He's a good character, alright. He's alright. He's okay. He's cool actually. And in the later seasons where he's actually good at fighting, he actually becomes really balanced to me. And he's also like this unbeatable force. Moving on to the non-bender of the main group, we have, what's his name? I just watched the show. Before I get to the next character actually, it seems like the reason why the show was even created in the first place, oh that was loud, in the first place is because so the creator drew a picture of a bald, middle-aged man and then put it on a flying bison. And that was all the way in 2001, and somehow it turned that into a show. I aspire to be that creative, to be honest. The one I was thinking about was Sokka. First of all, not a good name, so we're not off to a good start, but regardless. In season 1, I despised Sokka completely. I didn't like a single thing about him. His quips weren't funny, his jokes weren't funny, his fighting style was ass, and he brought nothing to the group. He sucked, and I hated him. Simple as that. In the later seasons though, he really started to become more and more intelligent and became the ideas man of the group, and he was very, very useful for that. And let me not lie, yeah, I really started to like him. Also, I don't know what he was doing. Maybe it's because he's black or something, but this guy really seemed to have a way with ladies around the world. 4 of them fell for him in the entire show, which I'm not happy about, that's for sure. Regardless, Sokka was a character that I didn't start liking at first, but then eventually I grew to like him because he actually developed as a human being. You know who didn't though? His sister Katara. Even after the show has finished, even after that epic fight with her against Azula, and even after all of the encouraging stuff that she said, I do not like Katara. I do not. She's an awful character. Katara is awful. And in this their play episode that basically describes all of the characters in like a negative way, yeah? And it just perfectly captures her, because all she does is just whine about everything. Anything Sokka would say, for instance, she would always have one funny little quip to say afterwards, and it was really irritating. And I don't like Katara. I just don't. But that scene where she learns how to bloodbend really caught me off guard, because while I had minimum knowledge on the Avatar series, I do occasionally research their characters, because I have nothing better else to do, to be honest. But regardless, that was pretty cool. Anyways, I do not like Katara. 0 out of 10 characters, she sucks. I've realized that this segment is going to be pretty long, so next character, Toph. Toph is cool. Toph is awesome. Toph is the funniest one, and she's the best one. She's also the coolest one. And Earthbending is cool, and it makes a satisfying noise, okay? Next one. Wait, actually, no, before I go to the next one, I swear she appeared in Korra, right? I should think so. Anyways, 12 is awesome. Next character is one of the villains that I have written down here. I have Azula. I don't get her. I mean, it's okay to make a character that is absolutely evil with no redeeming quality whatsoever, but it wasn't really done in the best way this time, to be completely blunt. Like, I'm sure you don't really need a sad backstory for everything, but at the very least, like, maybe she was dropped on her head, I don't know, but Azula was just freaking weird, man. Like, she was evil for no reason, apparently. She just liked it. She considered herself a monster. Her own mother considered her a monster. And then here we are. And then she's just a screaming, whining baby till the end. But hey, she was intimidating when she needed to be. So at least she served her purpose as the sub-villain, despite the fact that she appeared more than the actual villain. Speaking of, Fire Lord Ozai, or the Phoenix King. I mean, he only really appeared for like what, 4 episodes, in the flesh at the very least. So, not really a lot to say. He was intimidating in some of the Zuko scenes at the very least, but nothing else really. Yeah. He served his purpose. He was a very good final boss, but I felt like the fight between him and Aang, much like the entire show, could have gone for a bit longer, because like he just got into the Avatar state where, to me at the very least, the fight just started, even though it really didn't, and it had already been going on for kind of a long time. And then he just got mollywopped by Aang. And then, like, no, shit. He's alright, he's a good villain. And I have a few more. And let me knock out both of the animal characters. Appa and Momo. I own Momo, copyrighted, but that's a different Momo. So this Momo, yeah, he's a bat and a lemur, I think, because lemurs can't fly last I checked. He's cool, he doesn't really do much. It's not like he's meant to. Appa is also cool, very useful, and probably the most integral part of the team, considering that basically everything that happened in the show probably wouldn't have happened if Appa wasn't there to literally carry them around. So basically it was kind of the backbone of the entire team. Which is why, like, he was stolen for a really long time in the show for some reason. I mean, it was obvious that they wouldn't really find them that quickly in Bang Shay. That's how to pronounce it right. But I still feel like that arc took a bit too long. I have 3 more characters to talk about, so don't worry. Zuko. I feel like he had like the effect that Todoroki had when I first watched My Hero Academia, because like he was cool, he was awesome. He could fight the best, he could punch the best. And then, a few mental breakdowns later, and he was actually a fully developed character. Zuko was really cool. Zuko was awesome, in fact. And I really thought I had a bit more to say about him, but he was really cool. And I really vibed with him when he first met up with the gang, which is what the Avatar fans commonly call the group of the main characters, which is so freaking lame. I'm trying not to swear too much. Oh, it's so lame. Jesus Christ. Anyways, he was just having he wasn't really anxious, but he was still trying to find his way, and and I thought that was pretty relatable. Zuko is a good character. Ty Lee is definitely a character in the show, and I just thought I would mention her so that I don't forget. I'm not telling you what I forgot about you. And the last one, the best in the entire show, by far, in a landslide, in fact, Uncle Ali, God of mercy. As of right now, there's not a single old character off the top of my head that I'm thinking right now that even comes close to Uncle Ali in terms of how deep his wisdom went, and like how he was just so awesome, that's how cool he was most of the time. Talking to myself, yeah, this isn't going to be edited down heavily. I could make an entire video gushing about just how great of a character he was. Like, for instance, he was legitimately funny, which is something the show really suffered from sometimes. So he knew how to fight really well. The fight scenes involving him were always pretty good. And the guy was just, like I said, infinite wisdom. And the episode in which he sings that song, the one where he goes around helping people in Banshee sing, and then at the end of his mini episodes he goes to morning song. Top moment in the entire show for me. Honestly, not a single other thing in the entire show comes close to that one moment. That's how good he is. There wasn't really any parts in the show that made me feel emotional, so to say. But if there was any part in the entire show that made me feel something close to that, it was probably that. And I just thought, wow, even though he did a lot of awful things, Uncle Arrow did not deserve any of it. He's just that awesome. He's really cool. By far the best character. I just spent 12 minutes out of my life talking about Avatar characters. I just noticed that my camera is slightly out of focus. None of these are better. This camera is trash. I think. Okay, let me just cover the last part. Let me just summarize my feelings about the last Airbender. It's a good show. There's not really a lot more to say. While I wouldn't consider it Nickelodeon's best ever show, because I still have my preferences. I still really like SpongeBob, and let me be controversial here. I prefer Henry Danger. Whoops. But yeah, in terms of story, Avatar: The Last Airbender is probably the best written story in the entire Nickelodeon. Which, there's not really a lot of competition, but still. Now, does that mean you should watch the movie? Absolutely not. But Avatar: The Last Airbender is a show that I would recommend people to watch. Not just because of its decent animation, its good scenery, and the few good characters there. But even you just have to look past some of the bad characters, some of the bad character moments, some of the cringy writing, which can appear sometimes. Some of the writing in the show I just didn't like at all, especially in season 1. But that could probably be because the writers were still finding their foot in there. Regardless, Avatar: The Last Airbender is a good show. And if I were to rate it out of 10, my opinions will vary eventually. But I would probably give this one an 8. I want to say it's a 7 out of 10. I really do. I don't want to like this show, but I eventually did. And the fact that Uncle Iroh didn't die, because from the entire show, I had this like feeling of impending doom on my shoulders. Like, oh my god, Uncle Iroh is going to die. He's going to die. Like, he just seems like a very easy kill for not only character development but emotional moments, because he's Uncle Iroh. He's just that awesome. And I was just waiting. I was ready for it to happen emotionally, not mentally, of course. But it didn't come, which is awesome, and I like that. And that's why the show is an 8 instead of a 7. So I guess this is just another good show that Fari Lotus has recommended me, which is very good of him. So now it's his turn. Let me think. What show should he watch? Hang on. Well, since Avatar was 3 seasons, the show that I recommend to you, David, is Goodbye, and this is Super Moye. Oh, whoopsie daisy. Goodbye, and this is Super Moye. Signing out. Bye.